Hello and welcome to Signercraft TV. This is my Rick Sanchez sculpture inspired by Rick and Morty. As you can see right here, I'm making what's called the armature. I'm using aluminum wire. When I do this, I really like to try to use one piece of wire, so start from the head and twist down to the legs and then go all the way back up and then form the arms. Using aluminum foil for the filler. You don't want to have polymer clay too thick in certain spots, or else as much as it would take to heat it, by the time the inside of the clay hardens, the outside could crack. So you don't really want more than like 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch in any spots. Like it might not hurt, but you don't want to make it too thick. So the armature is done. I'm going to start adding some clay around the head and then around the body. You can see the picture in the back is I want a good reference picture for me to use without having to look at the computer. So I drew that about the same size that I knew I wanted. So then I formed the pants, or the legs, pants. Start adding stuff for the shirt. And smoothing everything out. His arms are like really skinny. I think I actually ended up, after putting it on the white clay to start off with on the arms, I think I ended up taking a razor and actually trimming it back down because it was just way too much. You see right there, it kind of skipped back where I was putting clay on again, or I was putting more on the back. And that's because I ended up just having too much. I had to thin it out some. So I start making the eye holes, and hindsight, looking back, those eye holes ended up being more like the eye sockets ended up being more trouble than it was worth. Maybe like slight indentions would be good, but that was way too deep. Ended up causing me a lot of problems when I was trying to form the eyes. Ended up screwing up a lot of the other facial features because I was messing with the eyes so much. With regular Sculpey, this stuff is super soft. I mean, it is butter. And once you get it formed and it gets warm from your hands, like the slightest touch will just screw it up, and it can be really annoying sometimes. Before, after doing all the facial features with the bags under the eyes and the mouth with with like the jawline and whatnot, or not the jawline, but like the puffiness around his mouth and whatnot, it really looked great. I really liked it. And then once I put in the eyes, I feel like I screwed everything up so much. Like it really didn't look like how I originally had it in the beginning, and it's kind of frustrating. The eyes ended up being a really big problem for me. They ended up coming out really rough, and it got to the point where I just gave up. Decided I would just paint them, add some layers of paint to them when it's all said and done, so that smooth it back out, which you'll see here in a minute. Added some clay to the jaw, to the bottom of the face, because it was sunken in so much. Kind of had like that Bob's Burgers jawline where they have like zero chin at all. Smoothing everything out. I was really happy with the nose. Really liked the way the nose turned out. That was something I was kind of worried about at first, but once I started on it, it was easy, really easy to do. If you notice on the drawing, around his mouth he always has the little lines, which kind of show that he has I guess maybe an older face, and it's like wrinkles around his mouth or whatever. So I was trying to show that with his mouth. Now I see that I have a blip where I started with the hair and then stopped with the hair. Yeah, kind of told the future a little bit there. Anyways, I tried 3 times to make this hair and screwed up, and like I made the individual spikes and put it on, and then I was just gonna try to smooth everything together, and that didn't work. So I ended up doing this. I made this like giant crown that just goes around his head, and then taking the razor and cutting the spikes out. And then what I do is once I get all these spikes out, I take the razor again and I kind of trim the corners down so that then I can make them more like round. And this ended up working out the best for me. I don't think I would try to do this again if I was going to make another one, because even though this is what worked out the best for me right now, it still was like a huge hassle. Which, with some of this stuff, I think what you make first plays a big part in it, because I kept like, when you have to hold it a certain way to put the hair on, you're like worried about screwing up the face, and it kind of handicaps you on the way you make certain things. So I think next time I'll just do the facial features last. I do like the way the hair turned out for the most part though. And Rick does have a bald spot in the back. A lot of people might not notice that, but he has a bald spot in the back. There's the eyes, and after putting those eyelids on, I started trying to smooth out the eyes more, like the actual eyeballs, and end up, at some point, I made it way worse. And I put the pupils on, and they looked pretty decent, but I was trying to get it too perfect, and ended up messing it up even worse than it was before. And you see, just a minute ago, the pupil on the left eye was like all blotchy, and I just kind of gave up. So that's his liquor bottle in his hand. something with that liquor bottle. It ended up coming out kind of crooked, which was kind of irritating. And I really wish I would have fixed that before I put it in the oven. But sometimes that stuff just happens, and you know, I can't be too much of a perfectionist with it. Okay, so after baking it, this is after I already baked it, I went back and I put a couple coats of paint on the eyes and then redid the pupils so it would just smooth out a little better. Yeah, so then I went back and glued the unibrow on. And that was it. That's Rick without a lab coat. And whenever I do get the lab coat in, I'll probably snap a picture of it, put it on my Instagram. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, this is Michael Signer with Signercraft TV. Hit that like button. And
Wubba lubba dub dub! Ricky ticky taffy bitch! And that's the